Whenever I tell a client, because it comes up in their cards, that they need to engage in self care, they always automatically assume that I'm talking about bubble baths, buying themselves some chocolate, buying themselves a pretty dress, taking themselves on a trip, something like that. And those things are self care. They definitely are. But they're not the only ways. And I was checking out Instagram, and the millennial therapist, our girl Sarah Kuborik, gave a great list of ways that you can indulge in free self care. Because you don't always have the money to take yourself on a spa day. You don't always have the money to get your nails and your hair done. Some of us do always have the money, but sometimes you don't have the time. So if you need free ideas for self-care, I'm going to give you a nice long list. So first, let me do the introduction, and then I'm going to give you some ideas about free self-care. So I'm Queen Alset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and pass it on to somebody else who might like it too. Also, please leave us a positive comment in the comment section. And stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to read some of the positive comments and respond to them. If you would like to get a reading done, please email me and I'll get back to you, or hit me up on social media and I'll get to you and give you an appointment. Also, if you would like to get any merchandise or become a patron, all that information is underneath this video. So let's talk about free self-care. So yeah, self-care isn't just bubble baths and chocolates, okay? Even though that is one of my favorite ways. But Sarah gave us number one. She said, make difficult decisions. One of the biggest things about self-care, and self-care is taking care of yourself. So sometimes we will put off difficult decisions because they're difficult. Now, this is okay to do for a little while, like if you need time to think about it or something like that. But if you have difficult decisions that you're avoiding and there's been enough time, making those difficult decisions is helping. The self-care aspect is helping you, is helping your life. You're caring for yourself. So that's a good one. Number two, talk to yourself with respect and kindness. A lot of people call themselves names. Like when I talk to people, they'll be like, oh, I'm so stupid. Or they'll say things like, they'll call themselves the B word or stuff like that. And I was guilty of this for a long time too. But I learned this lesson. So now I speak to myself in my inner dialogues with respect. I say, Queen, let's do this, or let's not do this. Or okay, Queen, you made a mistake. Let's fix it up. I didn't talk to myself like that before. I'd be like, damn, you fucking up again? That was the kind of thing I would say to myself. Damn, you did this again? Oh my God. I was so hard on myself. My inner critic was probably more harsh than any of the external critics. So what I learned is to still call myself on the problems in a loving way. The same way I would say to another person. I wouldn't tell them, Dad, you fucking up again. I wouldn't say that to a person. I would just be like, we need to make some changes. And I would talk to them like that. But I would care about their feelings. A lot of people talk to themselves in the most negative inner dialogue. And they don't realize you're basically tearing yourself down from the inside out. So talk to yourself with respect and kindness. When you speak about yourself with respect and kindness. Don't even joke like that about yourself, and you'll notice a difference over time, because I definitely did. Take a social media break. A social media break could be really good free self-care. It really just depends on how does social media affect you. If it doesn't really affect you, or if you really enjoy it, for example, those kind of people might not need a break. But some people tell me that it depresses them. Some people tell me that it makes them anxious. Some people tell me, especially business owners, that they're constantly on. People asking them questions. They in a bar having drinks with their best friend, and somebody's asking them about their services on Facebook at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's like you're constantly on. So some people, this could be very beneficial. A weekend break, a couple of hours of a break, a couple days, a week could be really beneficial to help you with that self-care aspect. And if it's your business and you can't be away that long, a couple hours, could be really beneficial. Get enough sleep or take naps. So this is a great one because a lot of people don't get enough rest. So if you can let yourself get enough sleep or take naps to help you with that, this is really something that is very helpful. A lot of people don't realize how detrimental it is to your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual health to be exhausted all the time. How many people know somebody who every time you talk to them, they're tired? I used to be like that all of the time. And I realized in the past like 4 years that I don't rest enough. So now I'm like, okay, I need a nap. Now I make myself go to bed at a decent hour. I didn't do that before. So giving yourself enough sleep is free self-care that your body and your spirit will thank you for. Learn something new. So you can learn something new by watching YouTube videos. I learn new things every day, and it doesn't have to be expensive. YouTube videos, books from the library, donations. You can learn a lot of things like that. You don't have to spend money all the time to learn things. Step back from unhealthy relationships. This is probably the best thing you can do for your self-care. Again, it's free. And the great thing about it is that these unhealthy relationships are affecting you negatively, whether you choose to recognize it or not. In most cases, they're causing depression, anxiety, all kinds of negative things. So if you step back from unhealthy relationships or don't engage in them at all, you are helping yourself. You're lowering probably the anxiety, the depression. You could even have, your blood pressure. This could be very helpful in a lot of different ways. A lot of times those unhealthy relationships are sucking you dry, and you don't even realize it. Or you do realize it, but choose not to do anything about it because you don't want to hurt the other person or things like that. But the best thing you can do for yourself is to create distance with that person or persons. Forgive yourself. This is such a positive. Oh, wow, man. I love this list because forgiving yourself is something that a lot of us don't do. A lot of us will forgive other people before we forgive ourselves. I know somebody right now today. She's my age. She's about 40, a little older than me. She's about 46. And she's still beating herself up because at 18 years old, she had a full scholarship to go to college. She was an athlete. She had a full ride to college. She would have, graduated, played sports in school, whatever I think she was track and field or something. So she would have done that and she would have did really well. But she didn't go. She was messing around with some dude, got pregnant, you know the story. So she ended up working, didn't go, that kind of thing. And now, 46 years old, all this time, she still has not forgiven herself for that huge mistake, as she calls it. And I told her, I said, that was over 20 years ago. You can go to school now if you really want to go, but you have to forgive yourself for what you didn't do 20 years ago because you can't change it. You can't change 20 years ago, and it's still affecting you today because you won't let yourself off the hook. Forgive yourself. You were 18 years old. How many 18-year-olds do stupid things? Probably all of us. So I keep telling her every time we talk about it, you have to forgive yourself. One of the most I mean, the best thing you can do, the kindest thing you can do for yourself is forgive yourself. Validate your efforts. When you do things and it doesn't quite hit the mark, or if it's a work in progress, give yourself that validation. Celebrate yourself for even getting that far. If you're on a diet and you're trying to, for example, cut sugar out of your diet, but so far you've cut out table sugar, but you still eating sweet sometimes. Celebrate how far you did get. You stopped using table sugar. Celebrate that and keep working on everything else, but celebrate how far you've come. A lot of us never do that until it's over. We don't celebrate the little milestones we make during a time like that. And those little milestones can really be helpful in getting you to the next thing. So validate those efforts. Stop procrastinating. Procrastination is the reason why many of us don't get more things done. Because we're like, oh, I'm going to do it in 10 minutes. I'll do it tomorrow. And do it next week. And we keep pushing it off and it never happens. So if you stop procrastinating, then you'll get more things done, which will, of course, give you more self-care. Especially if the things that you're procrastinating about are things you need to do for yourself, such as things in your home or changes you need to make or artwork or something you want to put into the world. Those things are really important. Set realistic expectations. This is definitely self-care, because the more unrealistic your expectations are, the more likely you won't meet them. And then you're going to feel bad, depressed, anxious about the fact, or other feelings too, angry, that you didn't do it, that you weren't able to accomplish it. So don't set yourself up for failure. Set very small, realistic goals that you can meet in a certain amount of time that build up to a bigger goal. So if you want to go to college, for example, and graduate, as a doctor, or for example, you're going to set realistic expectations. By next week, I will have put in my application. By the week after that, I will have, looked up the syllabi, for example. The week after that, I'll be actually taking my classes. A couple of months after that, I'll be moving on to the next semester. Those little measurable goals that can be done in an amount of time. Ask for help. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is to ask somebody to help you. Most people I know don't like doing this. I don't like doing this. I do it when I have to because I've taught myself to, but I really don't like it. But it is very helpful to yourself. A lot of times you're struggling with something that somebody else can very easily swoop in and help you with. They might, you could be struggling with money, and your cousin could have just won the lottery and be more than happy to give you $50. You could be struggling with a number of things, and there could be somebody who's very willing to help you, but because you didn't ask for the help, you never get it. Set boundaries. This is really important too. A lot of us do not have healthy boundaries. I noticed this with parents. A lot of parents have a hard time setting a healthy boundary with their children. And this is why so many of us grow up to not have any boundaries and to get offended when somebody tries to make a boundary, because our parents never did. How dare you make a boundary? So setting boundaries is healthy for yourself and for the other people that you're dealing with. Boundaries are really important, because if you let anybody do anything, whatever they want to, you very quickly lose your sense of self. Accept your imperfections. None of us are perfect. And quite frankly, I don't even think it's possible. I've never met a perfect person. I've met some cool people. I've met people that I liked, but I've never met anybody, including myself, who was perfect. I don't believe it's possible. And all throughout history, you always hear people talk about imperfections. So you have to accept your imperfections. So many people are miserable because they can't accept whatever they find about themselves to be imperfect. And it makes them miserable. They can't even take a compliment. I remember a friend of mine was trying on this dress. We were out shopping, and my friend has a lot of self esteem issues about her body because society treats you some type of way based on how you look. And she's a big girl, she's about 50 pounds bigger than I am. And I've been big my whole life. And I'm just like, look, it is what it is. Oh well, until I make a change, deal with it. I do. That's the bottom line. But she doesn't feel that way about it. She is embarrassed about it. She's always covering herself up and, stuff like that. And we were at the mall one time, long time ago. We were at the Cheltenham Mall in Philadelphia. And we were trying on outfits, and she looked amazing in this outfit. And I was like, that color is perfect on you. You look so pretty. And she was so embarrassed. She had such a problem with her own imperfections that she couldn't even take the compliment. She was like, no, I don't. Don't say that. What do you mean, don't say that? You look amazing. And she couldn't even take the compliment and started to point out all of her flaws. Well, my arms are too big, and look how it fits around the middle, and the color makes me look bigger. And she just went on and on and on. And I finally was like, dog, stop. I was just like, stop. Stop tearing yourself up and accept yourself as you are. If you're going to lose weight or change things about yourself, you still need to accept yourself as you are, or it's never going to happen. Period. I don't care what it is. Accept it. It's like, okay, this is what it is for now. And it might change. It might not change. But for now, this is what it is. Journal. Journal is extremely helpful and definitely free self-care. I recommend journaling a lot because a lot of people have a hard time talking to other people. So with a journal, you can be as open and honest as you want to be, because theoretically speaking, if you lock it up or keep it away, nobody's ever going to see what you wrote. Now, this could not be the case. Somebody could see it. All the time journals get published. The Diary of Anne Frank, for example. She had stuff in her journal that I'm sure she didn't want the rest of us to know about. But the point of the matter is that it doesn't always go down like that. It doesn't always end up, people seeing your journal. So get a journal, lock that sucker up, and write whatever you think and feel in your journal. Have a meaningful conversation. A meaningful conversation with somebody that you care about is definitely self-care. I don't get to talk to people. I talk to people all day, but I don't get to talk to my family and friends, the people that I'm close to, all day. I get to talk to them here and there because I'm, of course, working. But when I do get to call my best friend, my Taurus, that's in Philadelphia, those are such wonderful times. It might not even be a long conversation, but I notice it's different than the other conversations. I love my clients. I love my students. We have great conversations, but it's still different than talking to my best friend, So a meaningful conversation is definitely free self-care. And the last one, listen to your body. Now, this is an important one because your body will intuitively tell you when something is going on if you listen to yourself. And again, this is free self-care because it will tell you, if you're listening to yourself, what to do and what not to do. If your body is craving a certain food, for example, it could be because you need some of that, vitamin or whatever that is. Again, this is self-care. My body craves salad. Every so often, my body craves salad. And I guess it's the greens in it or the vegetables or whatever the case is. and I'll get myself a salad, you know? So people be like my friends who don't eat salads are like, why are you eating that? And I'm like, because my body wants it. So I gave it a salad. So listen to your body. Your body will tell you what it needs. When my body isn't well, which isn't too often, especially, but when it's run down, I do get exhausted. My body lets me know that I'm exhausted. And when I push past that, that's when I run into trouble. When I listen to my body and I'm like, okay, my body is tired, I'm taking a day off, then everything works out. So these are all great methods of free self-care. You don't always have to spend your money to take care of yourself. And these ways, in my opinion, are actually a lot more, I would say these are even better. A bubble bath is good, you know, some chocolate is great, getting your nails done is wonderful, but setting boundaries, letting go of unhealthy relationships, those are even more intense and, in my opinion, even more helpful. So let's take a look at some positive comments. The first one came from Luz Lopez. My girl, what's up, Luz? That's my buddy. What's up? Luz said, that's why I was very angry growing up. My mom never wanted to go see anyone for your family's dysfunctional ways. They just didn't do that back in the day, especially growing up the daughter of an alcoholic. This is 100% true. I can give testimony to this. Even now, it's not as easy, but now more people will go to therapy, more people will get a professional involved. But when I was a girl, and even before that, you rarely did that. My mom used to always say, keep dirty laundry in the house. And that is how people dealt with their problems. If something went wrong, you just dealt with it in the house. Most of the time, it just didn't get dealt with. It just got swept under the rug. People stopped talking about it after a while. But that hurt, whatever wound you had, it just never went away until you got old enough to heal it yourself. My family members and people I know from the neighborhood and all around had all kinds of dysfunctional shit going on. And they just dealt with it or didn't deal with it. They just kind of lived with it. And it's unhealthy. And people still do this now, but now I have noticed that more people will get a self-help book. More people will go to therapy. More people will do these kind of things. Now, there are still some people who will not, but I do see it becoming more of a norm. So I'm hoping that in the next 30 years, 40 years, people realize this is important. If your body is sick, most people are more likely to go to the doctor. Some people won't even do that, but some people are more likely to go to the doctor. But if a person's emotional and mental health isn't okay, they're less likely to see it as being important as long as they can still function. Like in this case that Luce was talking about, if her mother had went to see someone for her addiction, maybe she wouldn't have left as much hurt, from the past. It might have still been a problem. It might have still been bad experiences, but maybe not as many. And maybe she would have been able to turn things around faster. Jessica Belansky. Hey, Jessica. Jessica said, hello, my name is Jessica. I was wondering if Pisces can also turn off their feelings just like Aquarius can. Anybody can turn off their feelings, turn off their humanity, like they call it on the Vampire Diaries. Anybody can do it. Aquarius just do it easier. Aquarius are very detached. So it's not hard for us to turn it off. But yes, anybody can do it. Now, me personally, I think there are situations where turning off your feelings can be helpful. But I think that in general, it's just a defense mechanism. It's something that Aquarius do when things hurt. And I think that sometimes, instead of turning off our feelings, we need to work through our feelings. Feel them, address them. You know what I'm saying? Acknowledge them. There are times, like if I'm at work and something upsets me and I can't leave, I will make myself detach from that feeling for that time so I can finish whatever that task is. But as soon as I'm out of that place, I'm letting myself deal with my emotions. And when I was younger, I didn't do that. So I can understand needing to turn them off. Or, like, for example, if you're in love with somebody who is abusive, I can see you wanting to turn that off. I've been through that. And I was like, you know what? Regardless of what the case is, these feelings are still here. You can't just ignore them. Well, you can ignore them, but they're still there, you know, and they keep coming back up at random. And I told myself, you know, you can shut these feelings off or you can ignore these feelings, is more like what I told myself, but just deal with them. Accept them as they are and just deal with them. And that, to me, is much healthier and much easier, too. All right, guys, it is time for us to get going. Please come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.